The latest episode of Dragon Ball Super, episode 61, was crazy. It was hype. So we're going to talk about it here. We're going to talk about the ending of the episode as well. So if you guys have not seen the episode, please avoid spoilers in this video and come back later once you have seen the video, the episode, excuse me. But I'm joined today by Mark, aka Real to Real. Please subscribe to that man. He's going to be linked in the description. Please subscribe to him. He needs some love. The guy, he keeps making these theories, bro. We were just talking about it. Once again, spoilers. He basically prognosticated that Black killed Chi-Chi. So like, you gotta subscribe to the guy for that. But Mark, how are you doing, bro?
Oh, what's up, D-Free? I like the prognosticated word or something. You trying to do a little geekdom type of thing?
Oh yeah, that guy loves to Kate. He loves to say it every time, man.
he just wants to say big old words that people haven't heard ever.
Make you feel special. All right, well, like I said, guys, spoilers. We are talking about Trunks' new form. We're not going to talk about how strong it is because obviously we haven't seen it in action, but we will kind of theorize a little bit about how it was concepted, what it is. So Mark came up with 4 beautiful theories, so I'm going to kind of just throw them at you, bro. Basically, the first thing we want to talk about is that it's nothing special at all. What does that mean, Mark?
Well, personally, like, this is something that we've never necessarily seen before, and it's a little bit hard for me to kind of interpret exactly what it could be if we've never seen it before, and it's hard for me to even imagine that Trunks would be able to actually go and achieve something completely new and original just to him that Goku and Vegeta both have not been able to kind of unlock or find in themselves. And I guess you can make an argument that he's unlocked this because Trunks has lived such a hard life and everything and becoming super strong and everything, but I don't necessarily see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I do think that this is probably the most likely scenario. It's very, very possible. But the next thing we want to talk about is a perfected form of Super Saiyan 2. Now, before anybody gets into this, before we get into this, Mark, I think it's important to note that there was never any sort of indication throughout any material, as far as I'm concerned, or that I'm aware, that the characters ever mastered Super Saiyan 2. It was never stated you needed to master Super Saiyan 2 to get to Super Saiyan 3 or anything like that, correct?
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything that would actually even indicate that at all. Yeah. And in fact, there's a lot of things out there that would indicate that they had no idea how to master Super Saiyan 2 because, when they mastered Super Saiyan 1 back at the Cell arc, they can maintain that form forever. And it's pretty clear that neither Goku nor Vegeta, or Gohan for that matter, have ever been able to maintain the Super Saiyan 2 form for an extended period of time like they could the original Super Saiyan. So I don't think anyone's actually, perfected it.
Cool. Yeah, I thought that was important to point out because, when talking about Trunks and the possibility that his form is a perfected Super Saiyan 2, we were going to get comments on that. So, Mark, go ahead and elaborate while I'm over here stuttering, bro.
Well, personally, I feel like there's not a whole lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about later on in this video. But personally, when it comes to basically Trunks actually figuring out a way to perfect a form or actually get a form that no one else has actually gotten up to this point, then I feel that this is probably the most likely scenario of what this could be. I mean, when Gohan actually became a Super Saiyan, the original version, like during the fight with Cell, or Goku and Vegeta for that matter, or even Trunks when he turned Super Saiyan 2, the Super Saiyan 2 form comes with, not only the spikier hair, but also the more defined aura and also the electricity. And that's kind of what we're seeing from Trunks right now. There's a huge amount of electricity there. He has some kind of that blue aura around his yellow aura. So I guess you could make an argument one way or the other, but this to me seems like something that would be, if anything, this is probably the most realistic thing of what this is. He's finally figured out a way to unlock this potential and bring out its most relevant type of strength that it could actually perform, and being able to maintain it and pull out more strength from it. The same way that when Vegeta, and I guess we'll get to this next, but the same way that Vegeta was able to kind of surpass Super Saiyan 3 while fighting Beerus with his anger outrage, that's kind of the beginnings of what we saw previously, and this is what that is.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I think that it's important to note too that just because it's a lower form like a Super Saiyan 2 versus Super Saiyan 3, that doesn't mean that the previous form cannot surpass the next form, especially dependent on the character that we're talking about at that time. Mm-hmm. I mean, looking at Trunks, this guy was incredibly strong in Super Saiyan 2. If you look at the continuity for the manga, Goku has to go into his God form to be able to beat Super Saiyan 2 Trunks. That's ridiculous. And, to say that this character, he's the Super Saiyan 2, but he's incredibly strong. How strong would a god form for this character actually be, or something of that nature? So it's totally possible that it is a form of like a perfected Super Saiyan 2. He kind of just raged into that and just unlocked this unlimited potential for this form. But you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, in that Vegeta did something similar back in the Battle of Gods movie / arc, when, you know, the My Bulma thing kind of happened and she got, you know, slapped backhanded. But especially in the series, because I mean, that was savage. They just played it from different angles and everything like that. And the transformation was different in the series too. Vegeta blacks out, he loses his pupils, akin to like the way Trunks is doing. You get that aura, that electricity. It's crazy. Do you think this is something similar to that?
Yeah, you know, this is actually something that I wanted to talk about for a long time, but this is probably the best place to actually talk about this. Now, I might be wrong, so if I'm wrong, please someone in the comment section correct me. But, you know, when they came to actually understanding or kind of explaining what Super Saiyan 3 was, although it was something that Goku had to pull out of his body, like, you know, pull it from the deepest reaches of his body, and actually being able to basically take the Super Saiyan form and manipulate it and pull out even more strength than was ever necessary or that could ever be sustained from one way or the other. Like, it was kind of something that was just unique to Goku. And then, you know, Gotenks does it, but obviously Gotenks is Trunks and Goten. And this is really crazy. This is my stupid fan theory for this entire video. Honestly, it would be really cool to me if, like, the concept of Super Saiyan 3 was just why Vegeta never got it, and why Goku was the only one who actually got it as himself, is because Saiyan, like the mutation of, or the same thing that Vegeta's mutation, or this mutation we've seen in Trunks, it's not necessarily like we have forms in Super or Super Saiyan forms. It's like 1, 2, 3, and you have to go in that linear order. If it was something like whoever is using a form can actually, you know, manipulate it in the way that they see fit, or the way that they actually, you know, manipulate things. So Goku is pulling out strength, but what if Trunks and Vegeta, in the same light back in the Battle of Gods, like, they were pulling out, you know, stamina or energy or anything like that. So like, they pull something out of themselves in the same way that Goku pulled out Super Saiyan 3. So this is basically Trunks's version of Super Saiyan 3, the same way that Vegeta's mutation was stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but his version of that, and it couldn't be maintained. But now Trunks has actually figured out a way to maintain this form, and it's a completely new form for Super Saiyan 3 or something else like that.
Yeah, this is completely crazy. I mean, like I said, looking at Trunks, he completely blanks out the same way. His muscles enlarge and everything like that. It is actually like a really, really similar concept. But getting into something a little crazier, do you think that this is some sort of like God key or transformation or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I feel like that is something that could really, I guess it could be. I mean, that blue aura, man, you know, that blue aura around
That's what really
him.
gets me, is that aura around him. The way that his aura is, it kind of reminds me of like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, that there's an aura on top of another aura, because it looks like he has that bluish god type aura with his regular Super Saiyan aura on the outline of it. So it's really weird. I mean, the way that it is kind of structured, and it's crazy too, because I mean, we've seen these characters learn to achieve forms through witnessing that level of power. I mean, it's totally possible that Trunks, seeing Super Saiyan Blue so often, he's like, how do I do this? So he created his own one. Or maybe in a rage moment, he's like, okay, what do? I don't have any other way to handle this. And he just, you know, subconsciously unlocks that level of power, because we've talked about it before. We've talked about how the fact that Super Saiyan Blue is nothing special. It really isn't. It's just you learn ki control. And I've said it so many times before, had these characters known about the concept of ki control early in the series, they could have done that. You know, had they known about it or probably received special training, they could have done it at any point in time. So to say that Trunks is aware of it, and he's also spent some time with Vegeta, he's seen it, maybe that's possible.
And that's actually, like, it's just hard to really kind of understand exactly how that, like, the reason we can't answer this question, like, well, yeah, that's totally God Key, because it looks like God Key, like you said. Like, that blue aura, although it's a little different, it's not as milky, it's more it's more like kind of sharp and everything, like electricity to some degree. It looks so similar that, you know, more than anything, a lot of people will probably be jumping on the fact that this might be God Key and his interpretation of it, or maybe he has some kind of ability to go God at this point after training with Vegeta. It's just really hard for us to say one way or the other at this point, because God Key has been so, well, it's been so important to the series at this point. It's been incredibly wild and out there in terms of like, what is it all about? How do you achieve it? Like, what are the rules? And it's just impossible for us to know at this point. So I feel like it might have something to do with God Ki, but honestly, I kind of like the idea of it being more of a mutation or perfected SSJ2 more in terms of like what we've been talking about. I personally think it's going to be something that they never really touch on again. He'll probably like fight, lose, or have some kind of an upper hand for a little while, lose the form, and then never be able to achieve it again that we see. And that's going to be kind of depressing, but it has been cool watching it thus far.
Yeah, it's given me the same entire just the layout of everything, the way this is playing out. It's really reminding me of the Kaioken form, the blue Kaioken form, because it seems like something that Trunks will never be able to really go back into. He just kind of lucked out in going into it. And Goku himself said, hey, back when he did his Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, he's like, I have a 10% chance of doing this. If I don't do this right, it's going to screw me over, basically. And he basically said he's never going to use it again. Obviously, he'd be using it now. But it's crazy. I don't know. But I personally, like I said, I think the first one is most likely, that it's just kind of a cool thing that we'll never get context to, so it's nothing really special. I don't know. But I think the mutation, or like a form of like a perfected Super Saiyan 2, is more likely, where God Ki is obviously at the bottom of the totem pole, because he never really got the training on that. And like we said, it's a crazy thing. We have another video dropping. I haven't dropped it yet, but it recorded a couple of days ago, where we talk about this a little more in depth, but it's something we haven't really gotten context into, so we don't know. But we'll find out next week. Like I said, we don't want to try to do something too crazy with the little bit of information we had, just a little bit of theories here. But now that I've calmed down, because my heart was pounding like incessantly in the beginning of the video, I couldn't talk, I was stuttering and everything. Everybody subscribe to Mark. As you see here, he's an amazing person. Link is in the description. Thank you for joining me for today's video, Mark.
Wait. I have one more thing. I have one more theory. Just to make it 5. Basically, I feel like this could have something to do with him perfecting the training with the Z sword that we saw in the manga, but that's even more out there, and probably we have no context in terms of the anime. The manga is basically its own thing, so take that as you will. This could be something to do with his training with the Z sword and potential unlocked, possibly, but we don't really know.
Oh, Mystic Super Saiyan 2. I'm calling it now. Yeah, see, like, this guy just comes up with them on the cuff. If that happens, parking lot that, Mark is the one that, he prognosticated that. Okay? So anything else you want to throw in here?
No, I think we'll leave it at those 5.
All right, everybody, check out Mark. Link is in the description. Thank you for joining me today, bro. We'll catch you guys later.